Hello everyone, Squid Miko here from Miko Tunes. Welcome to my first official video. I was originally going to start with the worst SpongeBob episodes, but I wanted to start positive, so let's get into the top 10 best SpongeBob episodes of all time, in my opinion. I want you guys to remember that my opinion is my opinion, so you don't have to agree. Anyway, let's get into number 10. Yes, this episode is from season 7. Let me explain. So, I started watching SpongeBob at season 8. I'm not actually that young. I didn't watch SpongeBob till I was like 8 years old. But that does give me a soft spot for some episodes from season 6 through 8 because I grew up with that. But Enchanted Tiki Dreams was my favorite episode growing up, and to this day I still love the episode, and I also really love the song. I was obsessed with it growing up, and I still am. Squidward is my favorite character, which I'm sure you could tell. So I love seeing him happy in this episode. I mean, that does happen other times, but this is one of those, so it's good. And it's also pretty funny. I mean, it's not like too much happens in the episode. It's mainly just the Tiki Land. But I like the relaxing episodes like this. And also the nostalgia is mostly what bumped it up on this list at all. This was actually the hardest choice for me to make on this list. I almost went with chocolate with nuts here, but I actually think this one is funnier. I loved when Mr. Krabs made up the stupid story of Smitty, and I'm not even gonna bother with the last name because I know I'll get it wrong. And then it comes true. I just love when that kind of stuff happens, when stupid stories come true. We'll actually see that again on this list. That's a hint there. There's actually not too much for me to say with this one. I mean, it had a great story. It had amazing comedy. I mean, what more do you want? On to number 8. I really don't know what to say about this one too much. It's hilarious, it's memorable, the story's pretty good. That's pretty much every episode on this list. So I think I'm just going to talk about Man Ray, because he's a great character, and he's the thing that sets this episode apart from the rest of the list and a lot of other episodes too. And for a show with a small amount of villains, SpongeBob has amazing villains. Man Ray's one of the best, along with Plankton, of course, and he's definitely at his best in this episode. And Patrick is also amazing in this episode. Overall, great episode. This list is starting to get cliche, but how can you not have the camping episode on a top 10 SpongeBob episode list? One of my favorite parts of SpongeBob are the interactions between SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, and this episode has plenty of that. And of course, the campfire song, one of the most memorable songs from SpongeBob. Maybe the fun song might be more memorable, but... And also the sea bear. That's a character we don't get enough of. He only had one other physical appearance. He also appeared in a painting and a few episodes, I think. But they completely ruined him in his last physical appearance. And at least we have the memories from this episode. Again with the cliche choices. I'll try to make the worst episode list more diverse. Anyway, the idiot box. This is another one with the SpongeBob Patrick Squidward dynamic I love. It also is one of my favorite lines from like the entire show. And I quote that way too much. It's the scene after the supposed avalanche where Patrick says, "SpongeBob, my legs are frozen. You're going to have to cut them off." And then SpongeBob's like, "I can't do that, Patrick." And then Patrick's like, "Why not?" "Because I already cut off both my arms." Yeah, I used that way too much, and I'm sorry for those bad impressions. And number 5. Yeah, I really am sorry for these cliche choices. But I hope you continue to watch the video. Anyway, back to the episode. This is another one of the funniest SpongeBob episodes. And being a nerd, I especially enjoy the scene in Weenie Hut Jr.'s, or really all the scenes in Weenie Hut Jr.'s, they're all amazing. And I also really like this one joke that I don't hear many people talk about, where the two guys are waiting in line, and the one's like, "Are you calling me a liar?" And then the other one's like, "Well, I ain't calling you for dinner." I don't know why I love that so much. Overall, it's another one of those fantastic episodes. Oh, and it's also one of the few episodes that mentions SpongeBob's Spice Garden, which is something I find amusing. Another thing I love about this one. I'm sorry, this episode is just too good. SpongeBob and Squidward delivering a pizza is the most amazing idea ever. Except for, of course, the other 3 episodes that are higher than it on this list. But I mean, what isn't to love about this episode? The Krusty Krab pizza song, the Pioneers. Seriously, we need more of the Pioneers. Even if Squidward's had enough of them. And Squidward standing up for SpongeBob. Seriously, that ending scene with the jerk customer and Squidward shoving the pizza in his face. It's one of the best scenes of all time. Yes, I'm aware that this is a special, but I never said I wouldn't include specials. This is my favorite episodes of all time, so I don't feel the need to leave out specials. It's not even a 22-minute special anyway. Also, it's just plain amazing. I mean, the Patchy segments may be pointless. I mean, they weren't originally, because the voting thing. But, yeah, I like Patchy, so I don't care. And it also is another SpongeBob Patrick Squidward episode. I really need a shorter name for that. Even though Squidward's not in it too much after the beginning. And the Flying Dutchman is at his best in this episode. He's another one of my favorite characters. I'll have to make a list for that eventually. And the comedy is just amazing in this episode, between the perfume section and the good and scary scene, which I feel is overlooked. This episode earned its spot at number 3. This is another one of those iconic episodes I just love. This episode has a SpongeBob Squidward dynamic, which it's just as good as the SpongeBob Patrick Squidward dynamic. Like I mentioned in One Crab's Trash, I like Squidward making up the ridiculous story of the hash-slinging slasher and then it coming true. I love those things. Also, the Nosferatu appearance is just so random, and I love it. There was a third thing I wanted to say. What was it? Green slime will leak through the walls. Oh, wait a minute, that always happens. I'm sorry I had to do that. I'm really sorry. When making this list, I wrote down every single SpongeBob episode that came to my mind when I thought of the best. So I'm going to go through all 25 that didn't make it to the top 10 right now. Deep breath. And Band Geeks, Nasty Patty, The Smoking Peanut, The Algae's Always Greener, Rip Pants, Merman, Barnacle Boy, Neptune Spatula, Nature Pants, Doing Time, Chocolate with Nuts, Club SpongeBob, Sailor Mouth, SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, Fear of a Krabby Patty, Krabby Land, Artist Unknown, Wet Painters, Clams, Jellyfish Hunter, The Fry Cook Games, Dying for Pie, Squid's Day Off, Fun, Texas, and ARG. There we go. Here it is. My favorite episode of all time, Frankendoodle. They made a decent game out of it too. Anyway, why is this episode my favorite? It's hilarious. It's the funniest episode in my opinion. I know I've talked a lot about villains in this video, and I have to say Doodle Bob is probably the best villain. Everything about him and everything about this episode is perfect. I like the artist at sea, Squidward's hair, everything about this episode. My favorite line, from SpongeBob of all time, is in this episode when Patrick and SpongeBob are spying on Doodle Bob, and Patrick is like, "He makes me sick just looking at him. Those big, bulgy eyes, that square body, those 2-buck teeth, and that stupid tie. Oh, but it looks good on you, SpongeBob." I just love that. So there you have it. My top 10 favorite SpongeBob episodes of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe and all that stuff. And if you happen to like Lego, feel free to check out my original channel, Super Miko. Link in the description. That's all for now. Squid Miko is out. Peace.